President Trump in California today, and Governor Newsom is giving him a wish list. The governor asking President Trump to step in and help the state with its growing homelessness crisis. Now, Newsom calling on the administration to issue $50,000 housing vouchers, which help low-income families subsidize the cost of their rent while increasing the value of those vouchers. So is this really the answer to getting people off the streets? What do you think, Steve?
You know, it's kind of rich for this mayor to basically be saying we have a homeless crisis when basically San Francisco is just inviting homeless people all over the country to come in. I mean, I was just in San Francisco 3 weeks ago. They do have a massive homeless problem, and nobody in the city is doing anything about it, and it's disgusting. People are defecating on the street corners and so on. I'm very much in favor of putting up shelters for people so they, have a place to stay and a warm place to stay at night and a meal. But the idea that they can just invade the street corners and make San Francisco an unlivable city, that the people who are responsible for that are the political leaders in California and the residents who vote for them.
Yeah, and apparently they don't understand basic economics and supply and demand. So you're going to give more vouchers with a fixed supply of housing, and that's going to help the homeless situation. Exactly how? I'm not really sure. I mean, this comes down to regulation, things like rent control, which restricts the supply of available housing, not having incentives to build more affordable housing, having people complain about having certain kind of housing in their neighborhood. I mean, this comes back to what is California doing at the state level. And frankly, the homelessness problem has a lot to do with drugs and mental health, and that should be the focus.
Yeah, and look, I think this is one of these issues that are best suited to be solved, or not in this case, by the local government. I mean, this is a local government problem. In many ways in San Francisco, it's a local government failure. It's not as if there are every city in the United States is having a homelessness problem the way every city in the United States in the 1970s did, in fact, have a crime problem. This is not entirely specific to San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle. It's a West Coast city issue. And
it's growing here, though, in New York.
It is, but it is not a ubiquitous issue, and it is highly sensitive to local government policies. And this is a local government failure. And I don't understand how San Francisco, on the one hand, could say, look, we don't want to deal with immigration enforcement, and we don't want to deal with other federal things, which I think it has every right to do, and then say, bail us out for this.
Zachary, you make a great point. I mean, homelessness is actually down by about 12% over the last decade nationwide, but it's up, as you've pointed out, in areas where government is getting involved in micromanaging the economy in ways that they shouldn't, one of which is what Carol alluded to, policies that essentially attract homeless people, freebies and whatnot. The other are these NIMBY, these not-in-my-backyard building regulations in places like San Francisco and Seattle that essentially restrict height. They say you can only build 2 stories high, or the environmentalists who say you can't move that lake or you can't move that wood. That restricts supply. And now, in fact, they're going to have rent control in California, which is going to restrict supply even more, forcing prices
but, I would say this is one area where you have to go even beyond economics. I think it's basic morality. You don't indulge people's sicknesses. And frankly, a lot of these people who are on the street are sick. They either have a drug problem, they have a mental health problem. To indulge their delusions or their addictions does not help them at all. It doesn't help people to let them sleep and defecate on the sidewalk. In fact, it's a public health issue as well. But it does go beyond economics, doesn't it?
Well, it goes beyond economics, but it is a local issue to deal with the problems in the community. Right. And there are some people who are going to be much more moralistic about it, and some are going to be much more humanitarian. But at the end of the day, it is for that community to solve that particular issue.
And let's say that they have plenty of dollars available to solve this problem.
Yeah.
They're just not using them in an effective manner, and they're focusing their attention on doing other stupid things.
And the reason is because there's a crisis of will. I mean, it wouldn't really be that hard to get the homeless off of the street corners and get them into shelters. And every time they build these encampments, take them down, and all you have to do is a few times. But people. I talk to people in San Francisco, and they're like, "Gee, there's nothing we can do."
Well, guess what? It's been done before. Right. It was done by Mayor Giuliani in New York in the 1990s. He intervened. He said it's not right to let somebody indulge their sicknesses. You have to intervene if you care about somebody, and that's what he did. He didn't allow people to sleep on the streets. He'd put them into shelters. shelters or get them out. But bottom line is you have to intervene. I think that's... And he did it, by the way, with spending less money. He cut $1 billion out of it.
And on Jonathan's point, seriously, NIMBYism is now being replaced by Bananaism. I'm not making this up. Banana is an acronym for build absolutely nothing anywhere near anyone.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
You managed to button both of these segments. Good work, Stack.